Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Jacob's Wife. And this is a new vampiric horror film from director Travis Stevens, who had previously done The Girl on the Third Floor, and returns to that horror thriller genre with this film, focusing on the wife of a minister who she's not really happy. He's very controlling. She's kind of forced into this life as a stay-at-home housewife. And she winds up fooling around with this man visiting town in this like broken down old warehouse kind of factory place, this mill, and they find these boxes and they have rats in them, and then vampires show up, and now we have Jacob's wife, Anne, who is slowly becoming a vampire. And that's the crux of our story, as they struggle with their relationship, and she's fighting the urge of becoming a full-blown vampire, but she also likes aspects of it, having some control in her life, and her husband, Jacob, has to adapt to this. And then you have the master, who is kind of pulling the strings, and you have this tale, and there's blood and guts all along the place. And this film starts with this opening scene of really setting the tone and helping the audience really understand the relationship. He's very much a religious man, a very traditional man, and she doesn't want to be that traditional wife anymore. And you have this intimate camera work, these close-ups that really help capture the small choices of the actors in this film as they are showing their experiences, they're showing their emotions, and you can see what's going on underneath. And that's something that I really appreciate about Stevens' direction here, because it really is intimate. We get to know these characters. This isn't just gore and scares. It's very character driven. This is a very character centric film. And we have strong editing and transitioning between certain things. There seems to be like there's a moment where we're really going to jump right into the gore and the vampire scares, and then it has this quick cut to something so perfect that transitions us into the next scene. It definitely seems like the editor working with Stevens here knows exactly when to cut away and take us to the next thing, because it builds up that anticipation, it builds up mystery. We're not quite sure what happens to Anne when she gets bitten by the master. We're swept away back to Jacob, and we're left to slowly figure things out. And this film really focuses on Anne and Jacob's relationship, and it's evolving and changing, and they're both growing into better people, because before they were either a very controlling, and not like, I don't feel like Jacob was a bad person. It's just he had this mindset of like, this is how life should be. And now that Anne has these new abilities and this new power and confidence, she starts putting some of her own power into the equation and forcing balance. And the center of this whole entire film is their relationship and that power struggle, and will they end up breaking or becoming a stronger connection and bond in the end, and a better married couple who have a stronger relationship. And you have Barbara Crampton, who is fantastic in this film. She knows when to play that confidence, she knows when to play that mystery, she knows how to control every little bit of her performance. And Crampton, from Reanimator and other horror films of that era, she is that scream queen from the 80s who now, as a full-blown middle-aged woman who is blossoming into her own person in this film, and her looks change. She wears red lipstick and this red dress at one point when they go out to dinner, and she is magnetic, and you just feel that confidence and that energy off of her. And you finally get to see Jacob, played by Larry Fessenden, who starts so uptight and so wound tight. He starts to have a brandy. He starts to get more sexual with his wife. You see them grow together. And that's the best part of this film. And the score is filled with like that deep bass and these tones and synths, and it just feels very much like this feels like an 80s movie. And it works in the best way in that manner. And you have the scares, you have these transformations, there's really strong tension throughout the film, and you have this really creepy design for the Master, who is terrifying, played by Bonnie Aarons, aka the Nun, Valak, from the Conjuring films. It's a very distinct look to it. This is very campy. This film, like, you could see, like, the Master coming down from a rooftop on wires, and the people getting their heads ripped off and blood being, like, just shooting everywhere. It has that campiness. It has that silliness. And some people might not click with them. They think it looks cheap and stupid. Some people love the fact that it reminds them of those 80s horror films of that time. Yeah, some of the dialogue, I don't think the dialogue's the strongest in this film. The story, despite like the character-driven moments, the actual plot of it's really overly simple, and there's definitely tropes of vampire film. People make stupid decisions. But I feel like the focus of this film on the relationship between these two people, the fun campiness of it at times, and the strong central performances make this a fun and enjoyable experience with something to say. So in the end, I think Jacob's Wife is a win. And I enjoy it, and I think it's a fun, campy, vampiric horror film that focuses more on characters than mystery and plot devices. And I think it's definitely worth checking out. But those are my thoughts on Jacob's Wife. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.